In Guatemala, one of the nation's most active volcanoes is known as Fuego, or fire, frequently ejecting bombs of lava, ash, and emitting pyroclastic flows at regular intervals. Volcan Fuego has been near continuously erupting for the last 2 decades, and its activity has been mostly consistent, albeit with a few exceptions. Sometimes a brief, albeit violent burst of activity occurs in what is known as a paroxysm, marking eruptions which are an order of magnitude larger than what is typical and generally last for less than 48 hours. One such new paroxysm began on May 4, 2023 at 1:59 a.m. local time when Volcan Fuego's tremor began to continually increase. This coincided with an increasing amount of ash emissions at the volcano, eventually creating a continuous eruptive plume. Over the next several hours, this plume got higher and higher, eventually reaching a height of 6,200 meters or 20,300 feet. As the eruption continued to get more energetic, sections of ejected material fell back to the ground as superheated currents of gas, lava, and rock, which are known as pyroclastic flows. These traveled down the volcano at a speed of between 60 and 100 kilometers per hour, which I was able to confirm traveled at least 3 kilometers distant along several drainages, which I have marked on screen. However, in my estimation, some pyroclastic flows may have even traveled up to a distance of 5,000 meters from Fuego's summit. As the eruption intensity peaked with a truly sustained Vulcanian plume between 8:54 and 14:09, with the highest intensity occurring at 10:47, substantial amounts of ash drifted 50 to 100 kilometers distant, even falling in sections of the Pacific Ocean 150 kilometers away. However, after 14:10, the eruptive intensity slowly decreased until the paroxysm ended at 21:13 local time. Then, right before midnight on May 4, 2023, the eruptive intensity dropped to levels about a quarter of what it experienced in the hours leading up to the beginning of the paroxysm. This paroxysm is now most definitely over, and what occurred could best be described as a variety of Vulcanian eruption, as best distinguished by the height of the ash plume not being tall enough to be subplinian, the thick ash plume, and the formation of pyroclastic flows. More than 1,000 people were evacuated during this eruption, a 7-kilometer exclusion zone was placed around the volcano, and a section of the RN-14 road on the eastern side of the volcano was closed, presumably temporarily. This was the largest paroxysm Fuego had produced since about 5 years ago, when an eruption about 5 to 10 times larger occurred on June 3, 2018, produced a 16-kilometer high eruption plume and up to 12-kilometer long pyroclastic flows, scorching an area of 10 square kilometers and causing numerous casualties. No casualties so far appear to have occurred from the more recent eruption, and no, it does not appear that a very large pyroclastic flow is imminent. As, in the years leading up to 2018, the Las Lahars drainage was slowly filling with highly loose pyroclastic material and ash. This eventually reached a critical point, causing it to collapse as part of a Vulcanian eruption and generate long-reaching pyroclastic flows. As you can see, it has not reached a similar depth witnessed before the June 3, 2018 eruption, as it is still refilling. Although the eruption might seem to be over, only the paroxysm is, as for all intents and purposes, Volcan Fuego is still erupting. However, now there is another hazard. Because a moderate amount of ash fell on Fuego, when the next heavy rainfall occurs, it will likely generate small to medium-sized lahars. Lahars are sort of like flash floods but involve water in a mixture of volcanic products which you under no circumstances want to be swept into due to it acting like wet concrete and sometimes taking out regional bridges and overtopping regional riverbanks. Thus, for those who live within 30 kilometers of Fuego, be careful on the next few days rain is possible and do not be in any riverbeds which descend from the nearly 12,400-foot volcano. Thanks for watching. If you would like to request a specific topic, please leave a comment below. Additionally, I would like to thank Chris Miranda for becoming a new patron on this channel's Patreon page.